I am recording.
recording.
Ba, 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 ba. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 622nd episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host. Brain freeze there. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Hannah.
I'm your co-host, Hannah. I'm here. Hi.
Greg is also here.
Yeah, this is off to a real shaky start. That's all. I had to get up early, and I'm much more functional than the two of you. I worked a full 9 hours already.
You've been talking to people all morning. I think that's not the case for me.
I have had to talk to people all day today about all sorts of various and sundry learning objectives.
Yeah.
How do you want to learn today?
Hannah and I have just been sitting in silence all day. That's
I talked to my cat.
But does the cat talk back yet?
She does. She's so good at it.
We're recording this on a Tuesday, so a little bit early. So forgive us if there's some breaking Pokemon news that happens after this episode comes out on Monday, because I'm leaving to Madrid tomorrow, and I was trying to get as much work done possible, so I don't have to bring a bunch of equipment to Madrid and then deal with that. So we got an episode for you guys today. We still got plenty of things to cover. And if I saw you at GoFest in Madrid, it was awesome. It was very nice to meet you. I keep getting asked this question. Yes, I am going to New York. Greg is also going to New York.
I am going to New York.
Hannah is to New York.
Yeah, to be determined.
Okay. It's like an anime episode. To be
To
find
be
out
continued.
next week if Hannah is going to New York. Perfect. Let's just jump right into things, and we'll start off with Pokemon Sleep. We know the details of Mr. Cramorant. The game has updated. So when this podcast comes out, you will be able to get Cramorant, I believe, after 4 p.m. He starts spawning in the game, local time, or something like that. Obviously, you can't get him Sunday into Monday. It has to be Monday into Tuesday.
Okay.
I think it's to prevent people from taking a nap right away.
It would probably be after 4 a.m.
Maybe.
when the day switches over.
I don't have the thing in front of me, but
What is the thing? Okay, is it the official summer festival? When does it start?
no, not the summer festival. It would
Okay.
be the Cramorant being added. Anyways, as you guys look that up, not that that matters. I don't think anyone is waking up at 8 a.m. on Monday morning and being like, I
You
need
are.
to take a nap. Because you wouldn't even have enough. I don't know. I guess if you were paid to win, maybe you could get it up to that rank.
June 17th, beginning at 3 p.m.
3 p.m. See, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not absolutely. I'm only slightly crazy.
No, Cramorant incense can be used starting from the date and time above, which is June 17th at 3 p.m.
Got it. I wonder what would happen if you used it before 3 p.m. and you took a nap.
Nothing?
Maybe you can't get it before then.
Maybe it would. Oh, maybe it would just lock you out. You know how you
Could
can't
be.
use
Yeah.
incense on certain islands. Maybe it's like
Mhm.
that. Okay, so we now know that Cramorant's main skill is Tasty Chance Small, which is the same as Dedenne, and it is the second and only Pokemon to have Tasty Chance Small, as along with Dedenne. If you don't know what that does, it means at base level, it will give you a 4% chance of getting a critical hit on your meals. And if you don't get the critical hit and you get another Tasty Chance Small, it just adds up. And it will keep adding up until you get a critical hit. And then I think it gives you more than 4% on Sundays, but Sundays are already a base 20%, I think, 30%.
I thought it was 30.
I think it's base 10, and then Sunday adds 20, or something like that.
Yeah, I think it hits 30. So yeah. Does the fan do anything yet, or is it
No,
just
the fan-
another animation I have to sit through for no good reason?
It goes faster now.
Not fast enough.
Well, when they added Cramorant, glad you brought up the speed thing, they also updated how fast you add ingredients to your cooking pot. So that animation is way quicker. I don't know if you know this, but like if you just hold down on the ingredient, it'll just keep adding it over and
Yeah.
over. So
Mhm.
that animation is way, way faster as of this morning, I guess, because that's when the update went through. There is a small difference between Cramorant and Dedenne. Dedenne is a skill mon, so its skill will activate more often, which is tasty chance small. And then ideally you would want skill trigger, main skill level up, that kind of stuff. Cramorant is an ingredient mon, so it means that even though its main skill is still tasty chance, it probably will not proc as often as Dedenne's because its focus is also ingredients. So on Cramorant, you're probably looking for still skill trigger, main skill chance. Ingredient finder would still be really good here. The only thing we don't know is one, how often that main skill does proc compared to Dedenne. Safe to assume, though, it's not as often as Dedenne, just based on skills versus ingredients. And the other thing we don't know is what ingredients Cramorant can get us. We won't know that until somebody catches their first Cramorant. For some reason, that can't be data mined, even though literally everything else can be. But yeah, we never know ingredients until then. I would assume Cramorant would have corn, since corn is like the best ingredient in the game.
Yeah, corn was my first thought. Maybe also milk.
A lot
Gosh, I
of
feel
things
like-
have milk.
Yeah, I feel
Too
like
many things
eggs.
have milk.
Maybe eggs.
Eggs.
I can see eggs. Eggs
Corn
and
makes sense because they're in the shape of Aracuda.
I don't know if that's a particularly compelling reason.
In my,
It
Makes
looks
sense.
like a fish. I mean, mushrooms fit into that too.
Corn looks
Mushrooms
like a fish.
technically look more like an Aracuda because they're colored the same.
I don't know what would be like. I'm not that deep into sleep where I'm like, I'm looking for like this specific ingredient. I guess I'm looking for corn, but that's just because corn is so new and so few Pokemon have corn. But like, I have a really good potato mon. I have a really good mushroom mon. So like, when I'm thinking of like, oh, I need those ingredients, I just switch to those Pokemon. For
I don't
Lucky
have
Day.
a mushroom mon yet.
Yeah,
that I know
neither do
of.
I.
I think Gengar is still the best.
I have a
for
shiny Gengar, and it's
No
level
mushroom?
60 is mushrooms.
that.
And I only use shinies. That's my thing. You're not a shiny, get off my team. Unless you're my one Butterfree who's like super great ingredient finder and I have nothing else to put in there. And then it goes to Butterfree.
Maybe
This
oil?
may be the best possible outcome for Cramorant.
Oh, yeah, I think so too.
I feel like oil is too dark.
You know,
Like
No.
as a child of the 80s, doing oil is just too dark for me. And I'm going to just reject that right now.
thematically though, you know.
No.
No, it's too dark.
Dawn dish
soap and Cramorant go hand in hand because of the Exxon Valdez.
It's like it's just a possibility.
So milk and corn and eggs. That's what we want.
Take this with a grain of salt because this is from the people who look at the update and then tell us what the update says. It's saying on green grass, Cramorant will start spawning at Master Rank 1 for your 1-star, Master Rank 5 for your 2-star, and then Master Rank 6 for your 4-star. I don't know why 3-star doesn't have anything, but I'm guessing that's just because it probably is between 5 and 6. Because the other ones have stuff. So unsure why. Again, that's why I say take this with a grain of salt. If you're on the beach, Cramorant will start spawning at Ultra Rank 3, and then Master Rank 2, Master Rank 8, and 4-star is Master Rank 3, which again, a little confusing, but I guess 4-star is just a repeat of 1-star. I don't know, everyone has noticed this, right? Like the Pokemon that appears on the stomach is just a previously used
Yeah. I feel like maybe
animation.
there's one or two that are slightly different, but yeah.
And then if you're at the Tundra, it's going to be Cramorant will start spawning at Ultra Rank 1, Ultra Rank 5, Master Rank 6, and then the 4-star would be Master Rank 1. And we've talked about the Pokemon that spawn in what area. And there will be... There are boxes that I think the middle box for 1,200 gems will get you a Cramorant Incense. And then it looks like you can earn a Cramorant Incense through event missions. And then we know the Cram-O-Matic, as Hannah said last week, gets more and more expensive.
Noticeably so.
I don't really understand the point of the Cramorantic.
I thought Hannah was about to explain it.
We were both seeing who was going to explain. If you have too many candy of a Pokemon you are never going to use candy on, you can use the Cramomatic to condense it into a type candy that is most likely going to be for the type that you use to make it. So if you have...
I mean, I get the theory behind it.
Yeah.
I don't see the point of it.
But then you can use that candy on a different Pokemon that you actually will use.
Do you know how many, like, candies I have just sitting in that thing because I always get S rank?
Here's what I can suggest to you, Greg.
Throw candy at a Pokemon, one of my shinies, to like make bag space all the time.
I burned through a large, 6 medium, and 46 small rare candies. A large is 100 rare candies on just Dratini. If you would like to waste your candy as fast as possible, Larvitar and Dratini will
especially
suck up.
if they have EXP down nature.
Yes, both my Larvitar and Dratini have EXP down. So because pseudo legendaries in this game are still the hardest to power, well, pseudo legendaries and legendaries. I was really hoping to unlock Corn before next week on my Dragonair. I'm out of rare candy and I'm at level 27 of 30.
Oh no.
So
well, before next week, it's only Tuesday as of recording. If you keep it in your party and just check the game frequently enough,
yes,
you may be able to get to level 29.
But not 30. You'll never get Corn.
I also will be putting Altaria on my team every night because it has the XP Pokemon XP bonus every night. So we'll add a little bit every morning. Yeah, the Cramomatic is going to get more expensive every time you use it. It looks like the first time you use it is about 1,000 Dream Shards. The second time you use it is 5,000. Third time is 15,000, and fourth time is 40,000 per something. But it's increases per day. So I think if you are free to play or if you're a casual person, you should use it once a day, every day. If you're a little bit more hardcore, you could probably get away with using it twice a day, every day. But don't wait till like Saturday and be like, I didn't use it all week. I'm going to use it 4 times because it's just going to clean you out of Dream Shards. So I don't know anyone who would be using it 4 times a day, every day, besides just whales.
Yeah, someone's going to, but it's going to take up a lot.
Yeah, it seems very expensive. I'm curious on a different level why they limit the incense purchases. Like the medium one is 1,200.
Mhm.
You get the Cramorant incense. I don't know what else you get, but they only let you buy one. It is kind of weird to be like, what if you just want more Cramorant spawns? Because they're still hard to catch. Like I remember getting the Dedenne incense that first time and using both of them, and neither time Dedenne was hungry.
Yeah.
Neither time it crit. It wasn't until the third time Dedenne showed up naturally I was able to catch it. So to cater towards whales, you would think like, why? What's the problem with them spending another $20 for another Cramorant? Because I think 1,200 gems is $20.
Yeah, I don't understand in general why they do false scarcity on a lot of these things, but they do.
They also don't make it possible to purchase the Master Ball.
Yeah.
So there's just some level of challenge there is maybe what it's for, I guess. I don't know. I don't have enough dream points to get a Master Ball for a Cramorant. I'm not actually expecting to get a Cramorant this time around.
Oh, you don't have like 4,000 points, you're saying?
Nope. I figured there was nothing I needed a Master Ball for anymore. I have a Dedenne.
Surprise. I think I still have 2 Master Balls. Biscuits, I should say.
I have one in my inventory, and then I have like 8,000 points, so I could buy another one. Which, I don't know. I guess that's my plan, right? Is like, I could probably get to Ultra Rank. Yeah, I could probably get to Ultra Rank 3 in the first night on beach, because I've done it before, and I'll be using a good camp ticket, but it would be use the first incense that night, spawn the Cramorant, Master Ball it if it's not hungry, get the second incense, spawn it, catch it, and then hope the rest of the week that more spawn in, I guess.
Yep. That's
It's
the best chance you've got.
Not that any of us have ever cheated in Pokemon Sleep, nor have our listeners cheated in Pokemon Sleep, but slumbering is the easiest to get. Like, you can force slumbering.
Mm-hmm. Slumbering is the one you can... Slumbering is one you can force.
Right. You just put it on your bedside table, and you're, like, guaranteed slumbering. That's it.
Yeah.
More hacks.
The hot sleep tips. Not that I would ever condone cheating in Pokemon Sleep.
They're being so nice to you, though, with the Cramorant being the best Pokemon it could be.
Yeah. Knowing my luck is I'll get it, like, it will have a good ingredient like corn, and then my Cramorant will be like all eggs or something.
Yep, that's the plan.
Okay. In other Pokemon news. Oh, sorry. Before we get to, there was a small update to Heracross and Pinsir. Very, very minor update. I think each one can now hold 3 extra items. I think Pinsir is 3 and Heracross is 4. And then I believe their main skill has gotten a small activation boost for both of them. Don't think that, like, changes anything too much.
Yeah.
But both of those Pokemon got a minor buff.
Looks like Pinsir was +3 and Heracross was +2.
Oh, okay. I don't know if they've ever
slightly better.
Nerfed a Pokemon in this game. I think they've only buffed.
All buffs, no nerfs.
All buffs, no nerfs. The sign of a good game.
Yep, all buffs.
Okay, this was off Sarumi, Japan Universal Studios. There's a no limit summer splash parade that is happening. This is Pokemon related, I promise. There's a no limit summer splash parade happening at Universal Studios in Japan, which is located in Osaka. This summer, there's a new Pokemon element announced. If you don't know, Universal Studios in Japan does have a Pokemon parade that runs, I think, at least once a day. I did not go to that because I'm just not a theme park person. And it's limited in the Pokemon stuff, but they do have some Pokemon stuff. But anyways, during the duration of this parade, from July 3rd to September 1st, you can get a special Gyarados themed drink. So I don't know. Tourism is very high in Japan right now. if you were planning on going to Universal and you're listening to this podcast, which I assume means you like Pokemon, get your special Gyarados drink. Don't know what it looks like. Don't know what it tastes like. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be.
We do know what it
I
looks
do
like.
we know what it is?
We do know what it looks like.
Oh wait, do we have a picture of it?
Yeah, if you click into the Sarumi page, not on the front page, on their Universal Studios Japan page.
Oh, you gotta click through.
Yeah.
Sorry, I need my magnifying glass to use this website.
It's a Gyarados' Whirling Smoothie. It has a soda and pineapple flavor, and I think it looks really good. It's bright blue with pineapple in it.
That does sound awesome.
Right?
That sounds good.
Oh, and there's the normal drink they have is a Bulbasaur melon soda.
That's also so good. Melon soda is such a good flavor. These both sound amazing. Disagree?
Greg, you're not a melon fan?
Watermelon, yes. But most melon drinks aren't watermelon. They are honeydew or cantaloupe or musky melony flavored. I'm not a fan of those types of melons.
To be honest,
I'll eat them, but I'm not a huge fan of them.
Melon soda in Japan, which is usually bright green, doesn't taste like any of those, I think. I think it doesn't really taste like a melon. It just tastes sugary and amazing.
Yeah, it's very sugary. I actually think it's a little too... as somebody who lives off sugar, I think it's a little sugary for me. Like, I love it, but I can never finish the can.
Interesting.
Because you can get the melon soda in the vending machines there.
I think I've only had it at karaoke in Japan. It is a great drink for keeping your voice going.
Good to know. Okay, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we got some more Pokemon news. So we will be right back. And we are back from our break. Again, because we're recording this podcast in the future, and then it's coming out. Electric type Emboar would have happened, at least the first week. And I would be in a different country, so I wouldn't have been able to help people on Twitch like I normally do. But by the time this podcast goes up, there should be raid counters. So at least if you're watching this on YouTube, there'll be a little button that appears somewhere at the top that'll say raid counters. I will help people the second week when I'm back. I think at one point in the podcast, or maybe it was on Twitch, I was like, Emboar would be the electric type because of Wild Charge. Because Wild Charge works with its hidden ability of Reckless and Wild Boars, Wild Charge. I don't know. Just like
7 wild boars.
Yes. But it's still fire. It's still fighting. I don't know as of this recording, I don't know what the final moveset would be, but I would be very shocked if they opted for Thunder Punch over Wild Charge. But those are the two electric moves it gets: Thunder Punch and Wild Charge. And Wild Charge works with its ability.
Yeah.
So, but if you'll need help, I'll be doing help on Twitch the second week, and hopefully the raid counters I put out cover all the bases. Emboar gets a lot of different moves, but it doesn't get like a lot of like status type moves compared to like other Pokemon. Like it doesn't get Swords Dance or anything. It gets Bulk Up, but
It gets bulk up, doesn't it?
it gets Bulk Up and Curse, yeah.
Okay.
Which ultimately are the same move, except Curse has a downside, Bulk Up doesn't, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be bulk up.
If it was anything, it'd be Bulk Up. What was the last Pokemon? Oh, Swampert. Yeah, they didn't give
Swampert.
Swampert anything. They gave it
No.
Yawn. That was actually really surprising. Like, The attacks it got was not surprising. Like it had Hydro Pump, it had Sludge Wave, it had Muddy Water. None of that was surprising. Giving it Yawn was just like, okay. I mean, yeah, it gets it.
Yep.
Sure did.
Sure did. Does Emboar get any level
It gets
up?
Will-O-Wisp.
Oh.
Okay.
It gets
Does it get that by
Scary
level
Face.
up or does it get that by TM?
I gets that by TM. Doesn't get a lot of status type moves by level up. It gets Heat Crash, obviously, but Heat Crash doesn't work with Reckless. That doesn't mean like there are only
Right.
3 moves Emboar gets that work with Reckless, which is Head Smash. Wild Charge, and then Flare Blitz.
Flare Bits. Takedown.
Oh yeah, it gets Takedown and Double Edge, but Double Edge would be stronger. And then Head Smash is like 150. It's like crazy strong. But I don't actually expect it to get that because I think it isn't it a 2-turn move. Doesn't it have to like charge and then do it?
Yes.
And then it can still miss. It's like 80% accurate. It's like it's actually kind of like bad.
Yeah, Head Smash is 80% accurate. Does it get what is that one fighting move?
It gets Hammer Arm, it gets Close Combat, it gets Brick Break, it gets all the standard, it gets Drain
I
Punch.
think I'm thinking of Hammer Arm, which I don't really remember what Hammer Arm does.
Hammer Arm lowers your speed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it also gets like Earthquake. It gets really good coverage. It gets Scald. I think Scald is probably the most surprising move that it gets. A fire type Pokemon getting water coverage. No one start typing in the comments Volcanion. Yes, sure. It's a water and fire type. I understand. But most fire type starters don't get a water type move. But obviously, thematically, the water type move that burns you.
Yeah. I still don't know why Poltergeist doesn't get Scald. That still makes me mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they gave it what's the one? What's the reason for
Sinistcha
it?
gets it.
Yeah, Sinistcha gets it.
Yeah.
But Poltergeist doesn't. How? It's right there. It's hot tea.
Poor Cramorant doesn't get it either, but I think that would hurt his throat. You got to protect the throat at all costs.
Protect the throat at all costs.
Pokemon Masters EX.
Pokemon Masters EX.
I'm pulling this off Bulba Garden here. There's new Spotlight sync pairs on the Passionate Spirit.
Yeah.
Passionate Spirit.
Yep.
This is the return of the Strongest Fighters event that happened in 2022.
Yeah, it's been a bit.
So where the event focuses on Gloria and Karina. Gloria has Urshifu. Karina has Marshadow. And as usual, increased chance of bonus rewards for featuring the specific sync pairs. There's also Gloria, Urshifu, Karina, Marshadow will give you the 60% 1.6 bonus reward bonus. If you don't have those, Bee and Surfetched and Bruno and Machamp will give you a 40% bonus. And then all other sync pairs with the Passionate Spirit theme skill will give you a 20% bonus. Anything else happening in Masters, Greg?
Well, I will say this. One of the best pairs in this entire game is Karina and Marshadow. It is incredible across the board. This is like, if you don't have it, I would strongly suggest trying to pull for it. They gave Marshadow the ability to steal the power-ups from opposing Pokemon. So it gets you through a lot of things where they spend a bunch of time powering up and you just steal it. It's a really, really, really great sync pair. The Virizion and Thundurus, the Sharon and Bianca are still running. They have teased the most exciting pair that's coming. Cannot wait.
Mirby and Ludicolo.
Not
The actual
that good.
most exciting pair.
That is the most exciting pair, and they ignore me every time I suggest it. They have teased the greatest gym leader of all time will finally be coming, and I'm very excited for it.
Greatest gym leader. Oh, Larry. It's like,
yeah. They have, so that is what I'm saving my gems for right now. They showed the silhouette that can only be one person.
Mm-hmm. Got that.
It is
briefcase.
Larry, and I
is
want it.
Is it? Did they show the Pokemon? Is it Flamigo?
No. They didn't. They just showed his silhouette. A lot of people are speculating which one it is. I have my guess as to which one it is.
Are you just leaving it there? You're not going to give us the guess?
It's my favorite. It's the Dunsparce.
Oh, the Dunsparce.
Okay. Yeah. We don't really have a lot of great normal in the game as it is. There's not a lot of great normal pairs. Not that normal does a lot, but
well, I guess we should clarify which Larry it is. Is it Larry showing up for his gym leader duty, or is it Larry showing up for his Elite Four duty?
Well, we don't know until the story starts. We have both gym leaders and Elite Four in the game right now, so we have no clue, but it's probably gym leader Larry.
So that wouldn't be Flamigo.
Right.
Because
right.
Because it would be normal.
It would be normal.
Larry's so cool.
Larry is the greatest. We still haven't heard, like, to be fair, I will say that Larry is bait because the anniversary is coming up. I don't care that Larry is bait. Larry is the thing that I want. I will.
Yeah, I mean, if you want it, then it's not bait.
Then it's not bait because I want it. But I will say, if you are looking for a pair right now, do try to get Karina and Marshadow. Like, it's not as broken as Ash is, but it's up there.
It's up there.
It's up there.
Do you think the anniversary is bringing back Ash? Like, that is like the most in-demand unit at this point.
It is. It's possible they're bringing back a lot from 2022, and I think that's when Ash hit. So it's possible. It's weird because Ash is just not in the general media right now.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's talking about Ash. Like, there's not a lot of reason for the anniversary to bring back Ash. I don't see that. I feel like Ash is going to come back when they have him reintroduced in the anime in the future,
or at least referenced in the anime.
Yeah,
and
referenced in the anime. Because Ash was 2022, and they are bringing back a lot from 2022. It's possible. I just don't think it's very likely. Just because there's no reason. There's nothing talking about Ash right now. There's no anime. There's no game. There's no nothing that is Ash centric.
This would be the thing talking about Ash, though.
Yeah, they could. It is a unit that needs to come back because Ash is oddly incredibly strong. Like, just like there's no good reason other than it's Ash from the anime, and he can't.
That is a good reason.
Yeah, but it is one of the strongest that they put out, and they've just not brought it back. So they're doing a lot from 2022. So we'll see. I have a feeling, though, the anniversary is going to focus a lot around. I have a feeling it's going to be a new Volo. We have been building the story up to Volo becoming something more important. And the storyline has Volo's been playing weak. That's why he only has a Togepi. So I expect there to be Volo with probably the other form of Giratina against what Cynthia has. So I think Cynthia has the original form and he'd get the worm form.
Yeah.
That is sort of my feeling around what's going to happen around the second
Feet or
anniversary.
no feet?
Cynthia
I think he
has
will
no
get
feet.
Yeah. I feel like that's where we're leading to with the Mystery Stone. We've already had the first storyline showdown between Cynthia and Volo. They've already met and stared daggers at each other.
I really need to play this game.
Yeah. Although I don't disagree. I have a problem with this general theme of this game where everybody knows these people are dangerous criminals, but they're like, but we really can't do anything about it. So we're just going to keep our eye on you. And I'm like, I don't think that's how that should work. Like, you know, Cyrus wants to blow up the universe and the only thing keeping him alive is Sophocles. Like, make this make sense to me. These are known wanted criminals. And you're all like, we know that, but maybe you'll change. No. No.
Greg, I would like a Pokemon Unite update. From my knowledge, watching NAIC this past weekend, I was both excited and disappointed at the same time because while no one was playing Cramorant, which was the disappointment, Cramorant kept being people's ban choice, which is why no one could play it.
Yeah.
So it seems like Cramorant is very good, and people did not want to play against it because it kept getting banned.
Yeah, Cramorant's in a good spot again. Yeah, Unite is in a weird spot. As I said, I took a break. The draft thing is not fun with randoms. It's
definitely fun to watch in tournament settings, though.
It's great if you have a 5-person and you can talk about it. It is not great with randoms. So the new season has started.
Wait, hold on. How does it work with randoms? Because you're not talking.
You're not talking. Two people are chosen to pick the ban on each side. And you can
randomly.
Randomly. And you can make suggestions as to what everybody thinks. You can say, I suggest you ban this. It is up to them what they have decided to ban.
Okay,
and
so there is some
like,
in-game communication, though.
The tiniest
you can
bit.
put up a picture saying, I wish you would ban Blastoise.
Okay. And so are you saying that the random people in charge are picking, are they picking things that should be banned, or are they just being like, I have a vendetta against
It's mostly I have a vendetta. It's mostly I don't like playing against this, so I'm going to ban it. Some of the choices just don't make sense. Also, it's very confusing as who's making the choices. So often the person that's supposed to make the choice just doesn't, and so nothing gets banned. And then everybody gets a weird penalty because the team didn't do something. And you're like, this is just chaos. It's just pure
but you're
chaos.
Playing with master rank people, right?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I mean, you are.
They played enough games to get to master rank.
They played enough games to get to master rank. The other problem with the way it is that you never know when you're getting a draft match. Because it's random when you get thrown into a draft match. It is not all the time when you're at master level. You could have normal match, and suddenly be in a draft match and be like, okay, I have no idea what's going on. I was not prepared for this. I hope I can choose. They pick the bands that I think are appropriate. And then you're also running into randoms who often don't have alternates, so like the thing that they want to play either gets chosen or banned, and so they just randomly pick something and don't know how to play it. It's super frustrating. So they're moving it back to 1400. It was dropped down to 1200, and there's just too many people who don't know what it is not a great level. It's just too chaotic.
It almost feels like there should be two. This probably won't work, but it feels like there should be two competitive queues.
There should be.
I want a draft queue, or I
Yeah.
just want a normal game queue.
That would solve a lot of the issues.
Would there be enough people for both of those?
I don't think there is.
That's
I
the
don't
problem,
think there
right?
is at that level. I just don't think. So this season they are putting it back to 1400. The bad thing is EX Pokemon are back in. You can have one. They're allowed again, so that just makes this season a little bit more frustrating. Cramorant is in a good spot. Cerulege is going to be here on the 13th. It looks very fun. Right now, it looks a little too weak on the test server, but that is every time they have something. It always is too weak on the test server, and then it gets launched overpowered.
Crank those numbers up before they ship it.
Yeah, they crank it up.
What was the question I had for you? I guess this is more of a question for people in our Discord or Slack, or if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to comment. How do they do it in League of Legends? Because League of Legends has draft. League of Legends also has 7 million characters you can pick from, where Pokemon Unite is at 72, 73?
No, we're at 60.
Oh, we're still in the 60s?
I think we're just at 60 or just below. Zacian brought us to 49, I think, and then we've had I think we're in the 50s.
Does League of Legends or Dota, or I don't know what the other Heroes of the Storm, do people still play that? I guess that maybe works because people have microphones, but I don't know what the difference of somebody being like, hey, you ban the fairy that floats on the book. I don't know anyone in League of Legends versus Greg holding up a picture of Comfey.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be some sort of voting.
Yeah, there probably should be. Also, the other thing is League of Legends matches can go on for an incredibly long time, and Unite matches are 10 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah, the 45 minutes. I've seen one that lasted 2 hours. I'm like, what's going on? Somebody do something. I don't know how it works at other ones. I think they have. I think Unite could use a separate queue. I think they could make a ranked that is all draft from low level all the way up for people to play in. I think that would be a better solution than sort of what we have now, which is randomly at master rank at whatever level you get to. I know a lot of people are just not happy with the way that the draft is and are very happy that it's going back to 1400. We also haven't had a lot of Pokemon added. I mean, Cerulege, it took a while to get here. So there's some concern that they are slowing down.
Well, what were the last 4 Pokemon are what? Cerulege, Phalanx, Gyarados, Miraidon?
And Miraidon.
I mean, that's a lot. I feel like that's a lot of Pokemon since Pokemon Day, because Miraidon was Pokemon Day.
We used to get one every month.
That was Pokemon Day.
Gyarados was before Pokemon Day, so it went Miraidon on Pokemon Day, Phalanx.
Okay, so that's about 3 and 4 months.
Yeah, they were coming out at a much steadier clip, and they've slowed down, which is both good and bad, I guess.
We just need a new map. That'll fix everything.
Yeah, I mean, there are rumors as to what the next EX Pokemon is supposed to be.
Wait, what are the rumors?
The rumors are that Ho-Oh is coming.
Not as the center Pokemon, as a playable.
As a playable defender. That is the rumor. A defender EX.
Does he defend with rainbows? Because they're running out of days.
They got nothing but rainbows. They call in Lugia. That is the rumor. Things have been kind of quiet on the Pokemon leveling front. So we're just okay. Generally by the time Cerulege was announced, we would have heard at least what the next thing was, and we don't even have that. We don't have anything.
Yeah. But Unite's anniversary is end of July.
Yeah, the anniversary is coming up. So something big should be coming. It is probably another EX. It is quite possibly Ho-Oh, which will be overpowered and will make the game unplayable for a few months because everybody will play it and it's OP. But I think as far as balance wise, everything is well balanced right now. Even, I mean, you just sort of have to suffer with a person, a team that picks three EXs, like they're back in play. You're just going to have to deal with it. I think it is probably best for drafts to stay at 1400 because I think it's just too frustrating at the lower levels.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if this year, especially for the anniversary, trying to think of like what would be good for anniversary. You know what they haven't done yet? Vaporeon, Flareon, Jolteon.
They have not done the originals.
And if there's a type of Pokemon that brings people to a game, it is the Eevee Pokemon.
Yep.
And they have not done those three yet. So you have the Eevee fanboys, and you also appeal to the Gen 1 people as well with those Eevees.
We also only have one of the Paldean starters. The other two are
true.
Unknown. we don't have a lot of the starters too. Like there's a lot of the generations don't have starters in that game.
Yeah, what? I think what would fix Unite would be Incineroar. I think he would be a good addition.
We would see how people would react to that. I feel like Eevee, they may be leaning into Eevee Day being a thing, so I could see those happening in November.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Eevee Day.
Yeah, yep. Eevee Day. They may bring them into Eevee Day. But yeah,
isn't there a Pokemon that missed Eevee Day where they announced it, but it didn't come out until afterwards?
Umbreon, I think, was the one that didn't come out until after. Even like the leakers don't have anything about new Pokemon coming out. Like the last thing is Ceruledge. And again, it comes out on the 13th. It will only be gems at first. It's the same thing. It's gems for the first week, and then you can buy it with coins after. So you'll be able to get it for coins on the 20th.
Pokemon's in a good spot with leaks. I think, not to go back to Pokemon Day, but if we were to go back to Pokemon Day, which was 3 months ago, it was let's go Wooper, let's go Girafarig, let's go Crobat. It was Gen 2 stuff, and it was a bunch of Gen 5 stuff, and all of those leakers were wrong, right?
Yep.
Every single one was wrong, and we have gotten no information about ZA. We don't know what's coming in Unite. We don't know what's coming in Masters. We don't even know. I'm trying to think. Like we don't know what the Pokemon would be before Suicune and Pokemon Sleep. The only reason we know Suicune's coming is because they told us all 3 legendary beasts are coming. I don't want to say the Pokemon Company has figured out their leaking problem, but we don't actually know what's coming this year at all.
I mean, one of the things about Unite is stuff has to go on the public test server. That's where most of the leaks come from.
Yeah.
And because they're public, and nothing's happening on the public test server other than Ceruledge. So I think people in general are a little uneasy as to about what's happening. I think mainly because the cause of uneasy, we know the anniversary is coming up. We know what a nightmare it was when Mewtwo was released without being tested. It was just bad, and I think people are concerned that they're going to drop another untested EX on the anniversary, and it's going to be frustrating. And that is a very valid thing that happens in Unite. It has happened multiple times. I get sort of the secrecy about it, but also please let us test this and give you feedback before it's live in game and making everybody miserable.
Yeah. Given the nature of the game, a surprise like that is maybe not as good as it is in the other games.
Yeah. Mewtwo was awful. And then Zacian was also awful. They didn't release it. Miraidon was less bad, but it was on the test server, so people knew what was going on. And so
there was like a Pokemon they added. It was like around the time of like Mamoswine. It wasn't Mamoswine because Mamoswine was completely underpowered. Where they did emergency maintenance and they fixed it within like a day or two of it being out.
Sylveon they did that with. Sylveon was cranked beyond, and some of it was
Did they not
broken.
do emergency maintenance for Mewtwo, Zacian, and Miraidon?
They did not do emergency maintenance for Mewtwo. It took 2 weeks before they nerfed it. They did do emergency maintenance on Zacian because there was a code error that it was doing 100% ignoring of defense, which it shouldn't have been doing. But they didn't nerf it. And then they did an emergency nerf on Miraidon, I think 3 days after it came out. But Mewtwo took a long time.
After sales started to dwindle.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it works.
Sir, we've sold as many Miraidons as possible.
All right. Everybody else is doing the free version, so crank it down.
All right. Give them the nerf.
I do think everything is well balanced so far. Everything's been out for a while. It's also one of the plus sides of not getting any new Pokemon for a bit. Like everything sort of settles down and everybody sort of knows how to play. So it's not terrible that we haven't gotten a new one.
Yeah.
And I think Ceruledge looks like a lot of fun. Like it really moves well on the screen. It looks like a ton of fun. I am probably actually going to buy it. I just wish it wasn't yet another all-rounder. We have a lot of all-rounders. We don't need more.
We need
something
a
else.
New map.
We need a new map. We don't have a lot of supporters either. Like we're really supporter light. Like, okay, can we balance these out a little bit? And we don't have a lot of defenders, but I guess like, what are you gonna do?
Well,
everybody wants to play the attackers.
Yeah, people love hitting. People
That's
love
just
DPS.
how people work. Yep.
Just in Final Fantasy and Destiny and Scarlet and Violet, people just love being the damage.
We're up to 63 Pokemon.
63.
Okay.
63.
Okay.
Hopefully, Pokemon
will be 64 soon.
Is Bellsprout. That's just his Pokedex number. That's just... there's a joke in there somewhere. I'll let you guys figure it out. All right, let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about Pokemon Worlds because that has been we were starting our journey to that. So we will be right back, and we are back from our break. Pokemon Worlds at the Hawai'i Convention Center in Honolulu. They launched, well, they had a website, but they added more to the website.
They filled it in. It's no longer a filler
some of the
website.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah, so NAIC just finished, and they announced at NAIC that they will be coming back to Nolans for next year. So, sorry to Ohio and Indiana, who previously had the national tournament for several years. I really liked the Ohio national, internet. I guess it's called internationals now, but I was a fan of that area, that venue. But they're going back to Narlands. Did any of you guys watch NAIC at all?
I watched a little bit of the Unite stuff, but
yeah, I glimpsed a few seconds here and there, but not much.
Not a ton.
They had like a parade at the beginning.
Wait, what?
They had like some, I don't know if it was like a marching band or what, but they had trumpets and drums, and it was very like my only experience with Narlands is like the Mardi Gras stuff that comes out, but it felt very like Mardi Gras. They had a whole parade at the opening.
That's amazing. All right. That sounds fun. Is there a video specifically of that?
Yeah. If you go to the Twitch or the YouTube and you go to the beginning of the when the opening ceremonies happen,
Nice.
you can see that, which is really cool. They also showed off the official Pikachu plush, which every World Championship has a different Pikachu. This is a little Pikachu plush with a scuba diving outfit. He has little flippers on. That looks great. They do say here on the website that Pokemon Center is coming to Honolulu. You can look forward to the Pokemon Center World Store. Reservations will be mandatory to enter. So stay tuned for more details in June. I think this is just the right way to do that kind of thing, as much as it sucks. Just like if your appointment's at 3, then you're just not waiting in line all day.
Yeah, it means that there aren't people waiting in line the entire time who never get in. Because that's what you really don't want.
Right. You don't want to like spend all this money to go to a world championship and then be like, well, on Friday I was all day in line and they ran out of backpacks, so I'm going back on Saturday to try again because they said maybe new backpacks will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like it's no one likes waiting in lines.
There's
all right, well, I guess
one person that really likes waiting.
Yeah, man. The one person addicted to Street Pass. I guess I can also officially announce that the Pokemon Company did invite me to Hawaii as an official Pokemon partner. What that really means is they are paying for my flight and they're paying for my hotel. This is what they did for last year. Well, I guess last year they only paid for my hotel. But to be fair, I was already coming for other related things. So I always want to be completely as transparent as possible on this podcast. So they did invite me to London as well. And I just said they invited me to Yokohama. When they invited me to those two things, there was no requirement on my end besides the standard FTC disclosure of, hey, this company paid for this part. But I was not required to make a YouTube video, tweet about it, say good things. I literally think on this podcast last year, we talked about how 2 Japanese dudes got in a fist fight over a skateboard. I mean, if anything, they probably wouldn't have wanted me to talk about that. But there was like no obligations. There was a contract I had to sign this year, and that contract states that I get free hotel, I get free flight, and I also owe them 3 Twitter posts. Ironic, it's not called Twitter anymore.
Yeah, it is.
I owe them 2 Instagram posts. I owe them 1 live stream, and then I owe them 1 YouTube video, which they said the YouTube video can just be an archive of the live stream. So obviously we've been talking about Worlds. We're talking about Worlds right now. I'm not obligated to lay out what is happening at Worlds. Like, this is not a sponsor. This podcast itself is not sponsored. The stuff that the Pokemon does that Pokemon will require me for Worlds will be clearly labeled of that with the hashtag Pokemon partner on whatever social media platform it is. I think that even if you're not going to Worlds, or if I wasn't going to Worlds, it would still be a normal part of the show to cover Worlds, since over the last couple of years they have really gone above and beyond to make this like a celebration of Pokemon, regardless if you care about TCG finals, right? Like, you can go to, like, when you went to London or when you went to Yokohama, or even when they started doing this back in DC before COVID, they were adding so many things of like picture opportunities, play this demo early, do this Pokemon Go thing. On top of that, we have exclusive spawns. I think at DC, if I'm remembering correctly, you could like watch Detective Pikachu, right? Like, they had a whole movie theater for that.
None of us in our group did, but they did have a whole movie theater for it.
We didn't do that, but you could have.
But we could have.
I remember for Yokohama, the one thing I skipped was Path to the Peak. They did the premiere for that where you could watch it early. And I remember the Pokemon rep being like, "You're skipping this?" And I was like, "I'm going to be honest. I can watch this on my couch at home. Like, I just don't want to lose like 2 hours of Japan time to something that is like, they took me to a tea ceremony, right? They took me to all these other things. Like, I cannot do that on my couch at home. I can definitely watch your Pokemon YouTube video on the couch at home." So they did okay, so with that like disclosure out of the way, they did put up a schedule of what's happening, which now I don't know where that schedule went. Download schedule, here it is. So Friday, August 16th, the opening ceremony will be 9 a.m. Hawaii time. Which how does time zones work in Hawaii? It's not like an hour behind California. It's like
3
No,
hours, I think.
Yeah.
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 It's in the middle of the ocean.
It is. It's closer to Japan than people think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 3 hours before West Coast time. So
Gosh,
5
so
hours
if it's-
before y'all's time.
If opening ceremonies is 9 a.m. Hawaii time and it's 9 a.m. and that would be 6 a.m. California?
No. No, you're going the wrong way.
Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
If
Oh,
it's
so it'd
9
be
a.m. in Hawaii, it'd be noon in California.
Noon in California.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so this event should actually be really easy for people to watch, which was kind of the opposite of Japan,
Mhm.
which I think like when the finals happened, it was like 6 a.m. or something.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Time zones are tough.
There are a lot of them. Hard to keep track
So-
sometimes.
Opening ceremony will be 9 a.m. Hawaii time, and then literally everything is going to start. Unite, Go, TCG, and VGC will all start. And then on Sunday, you will... Oh, actually, on Saturday, you will have the single elimination Unite finals starting at 9 a.m. And then you will have the Unite finals at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, which is going to be 10:30 p.m. California time. And then you have Top Cut for Go, TCG, VGC. And then on Sunday at 9 a.m. Hawaii time, you will have the grand finals for Pokemon Go. And then you will have the TCG finals at 10:30. And then you will have the VGC finals at 2:30. And then closing ceremony will be at 5:30 Hawaii time. So if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, should be pretty watchable for everyone in the United States, which is the majority of people who listen to this podcast. Don't make me do time zones for Japan at this point. I don't. They're in their own world.
There are converters you can do online.
Yes. And then they said there will be a bunch of activities from Thursday to Sunday with no pre-registration. They have not listed what those activities are. They did show the Pikachu plush. They also showed the little card, which is the champion card. It's the same champion card as last year. The card itself does the same thing. The art is different. Golden Go is featured on the art. I think the card is like any Psyduck in play has one less of a retreat cost. That's what it does. That's what it did last year.
Yeah. Yep. That's what it looks like, I think.
Yeah. They
Interesting.
switched it. Yeah, I think last year was called... I think it's called Paradise Resort.
Yes,
I
it
think
is.
is what the card is called. Yeah, the retreat cost of Psyduck in play, both yours and your opponent's, and one star left. So if you don't know like the history of like the World Championship cards, they're almost always, there's probably like an exception to this. They're almost always stadium cards. And so stadium cards can be played for both people. Whether you participate in Go or Unite or VGC, you get one of these cards as like a competitor. And then there are cards that will say like top 32, top 16, like champion. You get a different card also when you're champion. You get like a card that says you're champion, which is really cool. Regardless if you win VGC or TCG, you get the champion card. And then there's also staff versions of these stadium cards that go out. Because if you from what I was told, this is new information to me, that they do now pay their staff. I've been told that they pay them $20 an hour and that they get like a food stipend. No, sorry, it's not $20 an hour. It's $100 a day, which I think they're scheduled 8-hour days. So a little less than $20 an hour.
Yeah.
So you get $100 a day. You get your Pokemon cards or whatever, because they give people booster boxes, and then you get your food stipend as well. So that's cool. Back in, like 10 years ago when I was playing competitively, if you wanted to be a judge or any staff that helped, it was, here's 3 booster boxes of Noble Victors.
Yeah. Purely volunteer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like they're paying people, which is very cool. I don't think anyone's like quickly signing up to be like, great pay. I think people genuinely want to help out and want to be judges and stuff, but it's great that they're getting paid for.
It sounds like some of the other activities include photo ops and meet and greets is what they're saying. So who knows how much of that is anything more than just a big inflatable Pikachu?
That's still a great photo op.
Yeah, well, meet and greets would probably be with Pikachu, Eevee, the starters.
Yeah.
Probably Masuda. They have quite often done meet and greets with Masuda, which is not really a meet and greet. It is go up there, say konnichiwa. It's meet and greet with Masuda's translator is what it is.
It's the signature. It's getting a signature on something, right? Yeah.
I mean, that is the definition of meeting somebody and greeting them.
It's true. It's very true. I don't know. They have not told me anything of what they want content creators to do. This is the first year that they put content creators on their website, which is kind of crazy. So if you go to the website and you click special guests, you can see the people they have invited. Anyone that's Pokemon partner, they have probably the same requirements as me. They got their flight and their hotel paid for. They probably have different things, right? Like I'm a streamer, so my contract involved do a live stream, but I also have a backpack that can do a live stream.
Yeah.
So I'm sure these other people on the list have different requirements. And then there are a bunch of content creators that got free passes, but they did not get the flight and hotel covered. And again, I never say this to brag. I say this because legally I have to disclose that companies are paying for things. You do have to register for a spectator badge. The venue does have support for accessibility and disability. There's still the normal code of conduct. This is on the big island of Hawaii, right?
Yep.
This is the big, but not the capital.
I mean, so it's not Big Island.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, it's not the big island.
It's not Big Island.
I don't know how Hawaii works. I don't know the names of all the different islands.
It is.
I don't like what is the touristy island that people normally go to for Hawaii?
Depends on what you want. So if you want to go see the volcano and do the volcano stuff, that's Big Island, because Big Island has the active volcano on it.
Okay, I see.
Honolulu is on
the small a smaller island.
It's the second island, I think.
It's on Oahu.
Yeah, I think it's on Oahu. It's on Oahu, but I forget if that's the second or the third.
I saw a TikTok where there's an island where no one can go to.
Yes. Yeah, it's like Big Island and then Oahu's across.
Is Big Island where the volcano is?
The Big Island's where the volcano is.
So I don't think Pokemon Company is going to have me walk up a volcano.
No.
Okay, good.
Also, Big Island is quickly becoming not the housing of the volcano because, as always, it's moving and the new island is already forming. So if you go to the Big Island, you can see where the new island will be.
I love construction.
Yep. It's fiery construction. Yeah, so you'll be on Oahu, which is where Honolulu is. You can get to all of the other islands if you really want. They have planes and boats, but it's expensive. And if you don't have a reason to, if you don't have a place to stay on Big Island, like, don't go there. Like, there's not a lot to see if you're not going to spend time there.
And Maui is where the fires happened, which is a different island than Big Island and where Honolulu is.
Yes. So Maui is, I think, in between Oahu and Big Island.
I'm going to need like cheat sheets or like little note cards to remember these
also
names.
Technically the fires also happened on Big Island because there was a huge eruption not that long ago. The volcano it is an active volcano. It goes off and blocks off huge swaths of that island. And it's quickly like Hawaii needs to sort of decide what they're doing because all of the islands are slowly sinking back into the ocean as the volcano makes new ones. The old ones go down and then get eroded away because they're islands. But yeah, Honolulu is on Oahu. Maui, which is where the fires are sort of in the middle, and then Big Island is where the volcano is. And you can kind of see all of them from certain vantage points on all of the islands. We did do that. When I was in Hawaii, we did go to the places where you can kind of see where the other islands are.
When was the last time you were in Hawaii, Greg?
We went there for our anniversary. I mean, for our wedding honeymoon. So it was 2015.
Oh, quite a while ago.
Yeah, it's quite a while ago. It's really expensive.
Yeah, I know. There. Will goes almost every year, but that's because his mom lived there. Into it.
Yeah,
and Will
lived there for a while.
Yeah,
and that's why him and his mom go often.
Yearly.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty yearly. I mean, I don't think it's yearly anymore because that stopped for COVID, so I think it's every other year now. But they do go.
Yeah, I think Will lived in Hawaii for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, as a kid.
Yeah. But I think he's been to all the islands except the island you're not allowed to go to.
Yes. Correct.
Because no one can go to that island.
Correct. It's sinking into the ocean.
I had a bit of dilemma with this because there is the debate of like Hawaii suffers from tourism, over tourism, and then there's the like Hawaii needs tourism. And I've spoken to both people, right? And even when I was in Japan, two of my friends who live out there, they're from Hawaii. They lived in Hawaii for 20 some years, and they've been in Japan for like the last 3, and they were super excited about this. And they were one of the people that were like, no, Hawaii does need the tourism. Like that's how it funds everything. And they're going back obviously for Worlds and stuff. So I what I'm saying is I can see both sides. I can see like Hawaii needs the tourism, and I can see like Hawaii's overrun with tourism. And when Pokemon asked me if I wanted to go and that they were going to offer to pay, there was, I guess when it came down to it, I thought if I said no because I didn't want to be part of the problem, that they would just ask somebody else and that person could be part of the problem. And when I say like part of the problem, I think like I don't think there's anything wrong with going to Hawaii or like any country if you are respectful and you're a proper tourist. Like you can see tons of videos of people being outrageous in Japan or Kyoto, like the Kyoto in Japan, or like any other city, Italy, France, Spain. I'm naming countries, not cities. But like when I was thinking about it, I was looking up native Hawaiian businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And so like what drove me crazy in Japan, I'm sorry, I'm like jumping back and forth. I promise my point will make some sense. What drove me absolutely crazy in Japan is in Shibuya Crossing. That's where everyone like pulls out their phone because they're like, Shibuya Crossing. But next to Shibuya Crossing, there is this huge building. And when you go up to the second floor of that building, there is a Starbucks. And that Starbucks looks over Shibuya Crossing. And then the next floor up is an anime manga cafe. And it also looks over Shibuya Crossing because it's literally the next floor up. And so floors 3 and 4 are that of Shibuya, like of that anime manga cafe. And then the 5th floor is the Pokemon cafe, the TCG cafe, but it doesn't look over Shibuya Crossing. There's no windows.
No.
But so I went to that building multiple times. And what drove me absolutely crazy is when you get to the second floor, because you have to take the escalator up, that the entire Starbucks was packed and disgusting. Like if you looked at the floor, there was trash everywhere. And there was not a single Japanese person in this Starbucks. It was all tourists, and it was crowded, and it was packed, and it was dirty. And all of these people were like, Starbucks Shibuya Crossing, which is like, I don't know if that's your thing is Starbucks. I don't know, maybe find better coffee, I guess. But when you got to the 3rd floor, you could also get coffee. They had a whole coffee bar, and it was cheaper, and it was quiet, and it was nice. And you could get your coffee and like look at Shibuya Crossing, or you could literally for 1,000 more yen, which is like $7, you could get like a private area with a chair that was quiet where you could drink your coffee for an hour and you could look over Shibuya Crossing. You just had to go a floor up. That's all you had. There was 2 floors you could do. You just had to go one more floor. You could have easily took your Starbucks up a floor too. They wouldn't have cared because they don't care that much. But like, I don't know what it is about like. Anyways, going back to Hawaii, I thought to myself, if I said no, or if other creators said no, there's probably somebody else that would be there that would be like, I'm in Hawaii. Let me go get Starbucks. Getting Starbucks in Hawaii is supporting no one but Starbucks. It is not supporting the local businesses there. It's not. So I was like, with this dilemma of like, I don't want to be an annoying tourist, but I also feel obligated as my job to cover this event. After like seeing the Starbucks fiasco in Shibuya, I didn't want to like pat myself on the back, but I was like, that's not me. I'm not that problem.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking into businesses and places to go that Native Hawaiians run, and that is one of the best things you can do if you're going to be there for a job.
Yep. One of the biggest complaints about when they say we rely on tourism is a lot of the tourism money goes to corporations that aren't based in Hawaii, that don't actually go to help Hawaii. So one of the arguments some people can make against is saying, well, Hawaii doesn't need tourism because a lot of the tourism dollars that when people go to Hawaii don't go to Hawaiians. They don't go to Hawaiian businesses. They don't go to Hawaiian anything. They go to huge corporations like Starbucks or Hilton or wherever they're staying for these all expensive reports that don't benefit Hawaiians. So you can mitigate that by actively choosing to look at native local businesses. There are websites and places that will say how to do Hawaiian tourism more ethically. But like you'll hear a lot of people push back that like Hawaii needs the tourism. maybe it's the reality is most of it currently does not go back into Hawaii. And that's, I think, where a lot of the conflict comes from. So if you do decide to go, like with any country, it is best to try to figure out how to support the population that lives there and not the corporations that are making money there.
Also, the TCG Lounge in Shibuya is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I mean, one of the other problems is like a lot of people do Airbnb. It's just funding the crisis of housing. There's not a lot of island in Hawaii. There's not a lot of housings. So the more people that use things like Airbnb that encourage corporations to buy housing that should go to people who live there, those are all things to consider when you're going to these places. Like, what is the reality? Like, if I find an Airbnb, is it like, how did this house come to be? Why are you doing this? It's like same problem with New York. Like, a lot of places are cracking down on Airbnb because of the housing crisis. So just if you're going to go to these things, again, try to do it with the best intentions for the people who actually live there that might benefit from you coming and spending money there.
Yeah. I also think tourism is like up everywhere. Like, I think like Japan's has over tourism. I think France does right now, which is only going to get worse because the Olympics is happening this year.
Those poor people.
I think Spain has reported that they're more tourism than expected. Which like I'm not like, the point of the segment, I guess, isn't to like make you feel bad for taking a vacation. It's just like, be respectful when you go to a place, and then you won't be part of the problem, right? Like,
yeah, try to limit your negative impact when going to these places.
Yeah.
And I know like Pokemon did from the couple things I've been told of this like Pokemon Worlds thing, is that they are picking Hawaiian owned businesses or local businesses. And they did this in Japan. So they already proved that they can do this. Like, in Japan, the things they took me to were very like, they weren't like, all right, well, for dinner, we're going to the Red Lobster. like every restaurant they took us to was like, oh, this has been a restaurant that is a family owned restaurant that has existed here for 40 some years. And every event we did was very like, not corporate. Yeah, I don't know how to say that. Like, not corporate. Like, not an American company sitting there where the money just goes right back to America.
Yeah.
Case in point, Starbucks. So, I guess to wrap this segment up, I'll be in Hawaii, so I will be live streaming what I can. I'll be covering the event the best I can. I will show you all the activities the best I can. And on the plus side of this, if there's any takeaway, wherever Pokemon goes next, whether that's a different country or close to you, ideally, it would be cool if you could go. Because I think these, like, I wish more people could have gone to Yokohama. I wish people could have gone to London. I wish people could go to Hawaii. But, like, timing, cost, all of that stuff is a factor. Hawaii is the hardest state in the United States to get to. And from, I don't know, maybe a company that said that the Pokemon World Championships will be in San Francisco in 2026, a lot easier to get to than Hawaii.
And you've got a lot of time to plan ahead for that.
Yep. You do. Maybe if you thought about going to California, maybe just push that back a little bit. Maybe line that up. Still don't know where they're doing for 2025. I guess in like 3 months, we'll find out what they're going to do for 2025.
Soon. It's going to be Minneapolis, Minnesota.
No, I don't. This is a non-related to Pokemon, but I feel like WrestleMania for WWE has been speculated to be in Minneapolis for the last like 4 years. And next year, I think, was like, oh, it's for sure going to be in Minneapolis. It's not. I think they picked Vegas, but I think Minneapolis is getting SummerSlam, which is like
You
second.
say it enough
biggest event.
times, you're bound to be right.
Yeah, you keep saying that WrestleMania will be in Minneapolis. Minneapolis could handle WrestleMania.
Oh,
like
for
US
sure.
Bank Stadium could handle it.
Oh, yeah.
I would
XL
still
Energy
not go.
Center could handle it as well. Like, we have 2 giant stadiums. So could
Just
Target
for the-
Center, for that matter.
Just for the record, I would not go. I would still watch it from my house because I don't want to be around wrestling fans.
The one time it's close by, it takes
No,
nothing
I would.
to get there.
So WrestleMania, just like Pokemon, they have events which you can go to, but I wouldn't buy like a seat in the stadium. I would like go to all like the events, like the meet and greets, the like whatever, and then I would be like, all right, time to go home to like actually watch it from the comfort of my house, not a hard plastic seat that I paid $1,000 for. Not interested in that. I think spectator passes have not fully gone up yet. By the time this podcast goes up, spectator passes should go up. So this was a problem in Yokohama where people booked flights and hotels for Japan and then didn't get a spectator pass. And they were very strict about that. I don't think this is going to be as much of a problem since Hawaii is harder to get to than Japan. Plus Japan really, I don't know if you guys know this, Japan really likes Pokemon a lot. And it's very easy to get around that country. So understandable why Yokohama had its limit of people, and they were very strict about not going over that.
Spectator passes for this year's are still a little bit complicated though. They're not expensive necessarily. The single day is still only $15, kind of like the regionals. Multi-day pass is $40, but you do have to beforehand add your name to a list for a lottery to be able to get the opportunity to buy a spectator pass. So I think that's on the Pokemon Worlds website. So a little bit of complexity there. Something you want to be aware of.
Yeah, and if you don't get a spectator pass, you're locked out of a lot. You're locked out of almost everything besides like the Pokemon Go spawns.
Besides the Pokemon Go spawns, and it sounds like some of the photo opportunities too, but you won't be able to go in and actually spectate for sure.
Yeah. And I think for both Yokohama and London. No, for London, you had to go inside the XL Center. So you did not need a spectator pass to go inside the XL Center. So you could walk to right outside where they were checking for spectator passes, and you could redeem your Sinistea there. So you didn't need a spectator pass to get... not that I'm saying you should fly to Hawaii to get a digital Pokemon. Don't do that. I'm just saying that like if you were in London and you didn't have a pass, you could still get like the Sinistea, and you could still see a lot of stuff in the XL Center. In Yokohama, there was still a lot of stuff to do because they pretty much tore down that whole city with Pikachu merchant. Like Pikachu was just everywhere in that city, so no matter where you went, you saw Pikachu. But in Yokohama, they were handing out codes, like code cards with, I don't even remember what the distribution was for Yokohama. I'm blanking on what it was. Gosh, did I even redeem it? I think I did. But they were handing out code cards to people. So again, you didn't have to have spectator tickets. They were handing them out in the mall. They were handing them outside the venue. They were so I remember getting a bunch of spectator ticket or distributions for like the Slack and the Discord and just giving them away to people. But ideally there should be a Pokemon for everyone, a worldwide distribution, and then there would be the I was at the event distribution. So that's exciting, I guess. But anyways, I think that's our episode.
Small note, I'm just noticing that you had to have added your name to the list for spectator passes by 2 days before this were recorded, before this is being recorded, so very much in the past by the time this goes up.
Got it. But they haven't picked the lottery people yet.
Correct, I think.
Yeah, because I haven't seen anyone saying they got passes yet.
I didn't even sign up to try, so I have no idea.
I'll sneak you in, Hannah. I got an inside connection.
Mm-hmm. I get this also on the airplane to get out there.
That'll be a little bit harder.
I'm travel sized. I can fit in a suitcase.
Perfect. I'll have them redirect my flight to the West Coast first. All right. Well, that's our episode. We will be back next week. There will be no immediate episode after Madrid. I don't expect Madrid to be that much different than Sendai. I'm trying to think of I almost said Yokohama. But when eventually when I get back, I'll give my thoughts, and then our last Go Fest will be New York, which oh boy,
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good time.
New York's definitely a city.
It's a very big one.
Sure is. All right. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Greg. We'll see you guys next week. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super really want to try that Gyarados swirling smoothie. It looks really good. It's bright blue.
Yeah, I've always worried about blue.
No. The best flavor.
But blue raspberries aren't blue. It's just they just take wild takes on what blue should taste like.
Yes. That's the point. It's great.
Hopefully.